Hi dreamers and make-believers, as always, thank you for stopping by, and today I'm going to talk to you about my latest holiday fail. That's right, fail, with two underlines. It was, yeah. Okay, so one of them I don't consider a fail, but let me explain. So, basically, this year I have about 50, no. With me, I have about 30 books on my TBR. And that's including the physical books, not the books that are on my Kindle. There, I don't know how many I have, and we're not going to get into that. But I have a lot of books on my TBR, and I keep telling myself, don't buy more books because you have too many anyway. But there's so many out there in the world that I also want to read that I'm hunting down, which I shouldn't be hunting down because I don't actually have the capacity to contain all of these books. But anyways, I was like, whatever. It's cool. I got A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury just before I went on holiday, and I was like, there's my holiday reading, and that's it, and I'm cool, and that's fine. Now, one of them, as I said, I don't consider a fail because it was one that I had to get. There was just no choice. My hands were tied. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's one that you already know I have, but I'm going to include it because I got it whilst on holiday the very day, if not second, okay, not the second it came out, but the very day it came out, I was like, boom, gotta get to that store, gotta get this book. So one book that I got, which I don't really count as a fail, but considering I said I wasn't going to buy any books whilst I was away, so one I got, which you already know I got, which I don't regret getting at all, is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Oh, I still haven't read this one because, as I said, I bought A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury, and I said I'm going to read those two books before I read anything else. So I've got this beautiful book. Although I might read it because it's a script and not a story. So, I could probably, separate them because I like to read one book at a time, like watching a movie. It's one book at a time. I can watch multiple series at a time, like, Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, whatever. I can watch them at the same time, but I'm watching one movie at the same time, and I'm reading one book at the same time. But as this is a script, perhaps I can read it. I'm on A Court of Mist and Fury now. I'm actually almost finished with it. So maybe I'm gonna, if I can't be patient, because it's been really difficult to not read this, so if I can't stay patient, then perhaps I'm gonna merge reading because it's a script and a novel, not two novels. Or perhaps I'm gonna wait and read it next. But this one I got, and I don't regret getting it, as I said, but that's a book that I said I wasn't gonna buy books, but of course when I made that promise, I forgot that this little beauty was coming out whilst I was away. Anyways, so that was fine, and I don't regret it, and that's fine. One book, it's okay. But then I went to another bookstore, which I shouldn't have done. And it was Borders, and it was 3 for 2. So, hello, you can get 3 books for the price of 2. So, of course, I got 3 books for the price of 2. Of course, even though I said I wasn't buying any books. So, the first book that I got, and you can see the beautiful 3 for 2 sticker there, 3 for 2, is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. And now this is the second one in the Shadow and Bone series. Now, here's Shadow and Bone, and I haven't read it yet because I don't know. Yes, I did do a video. Yes, I did. Of where I had Shadow and Bone and I had A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I was trying to decide which one to read next. And a few of you got back to me and said that I should read A Court of Thorns and Roses, so that's what I did. And because I was reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, I thought, well, let me just stick with it because everybody's talking about A Court of Mist and Fury, so I got A Court of Mist and Fury. And so I'm reading those two, and then I said I was going to read this one after those two, but then, of course, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out, and it's just a vicious cycle. But I plan to read this, so I haven't even read this one yet. But yet yesterday, I went to the bookstore, and I got part 2 in the series. Now, I'm sure it's going to be great. I loved Six of Crows. I really like Leigh Bardugo's writing style, and I've heard it's a really good book, so I got it. So I'm not going to read the blurb on this one because it's the second book, but just in case you haven't heard of the Shadow and Bone series, which I'm sure you have, unless, you've been living under a rock, but maybe you haven't read it, and maybe this is just going to get you more excited about it. I'm going to read you the blurb of Shadow and Bone. So, Alina Starkov doesn't expect much from life. Orphaned by the border wars, she is sure of only one thing, her best friend, Mal, and her inconvenient crush on him. Oh dear. Until the day their army regiment enters the fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. When their convoy is attacked and Mal is brutally injured, Alina reveals a dormant power not even she knew existed. Now that sounds just so exciting. Ripped from everything she knows, Alina is taken to the royal court to be trained as a member of the Grisha, the magical elite led by the mysterious Darkling. With Alina's extraordinary power in his arsenal, he believes they can finally destroy the Fold. Now Alina must find a way to master her untamed gift and somehow fit into her new life without Mal by her side. But nothing in this lavish world is what it seems. As the threat of the kingdom mounts and her dangerous attraction to the Darkling grows, Alina will uncover a secret that could tear her heart and her country in two. Bum, 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 Shadow and Bone. So yeah, I haven't read it yet, but yesterday I went out and I got the second in the series called Siege and Storm. Like I said, that was 3 for 2. So I got another one that I've seen around the blogosphere and in bookstores, and I've heard a little bit about, not much, but a little bit, and on old booktuber shelves. Okay, no, I lie. Not all booktuber shelves, but on a lot of booktuber shelves, I seem to see it in the background on their shelves. Now, I don't have a beautiful book. I do have a beautiful bookshelf, but because I have so many books and I don't have the room for them all, I have a nice bookshelf, but it's like maybe got like 100 or so books, and then I have a cupboard which I hide them in, and I have drawers which I put them in, and shelves, and I just put books wherever I can. I tell you, at one point I'm gonna have books under my mattress at this point. So anyways, so I don't have a beautiful bookshelf behind me, but if I did, this book would now be on my bookshelf, as I've seen it on so many other bookshelves, and it's called Shatter Me. Now, I'm sure again that you've heard of this, but if you haven't read it like me, it seems pretty cool. The blurb on the back is pretty simple, and I kind of like that because it creates so much intrigue. Although, of course, there is a little bit on the back, but there's like a sticker. I don't know why they put a sticker there. Anyways, so it's called Shatter Me, and on the cover, it says, "My touch is lethal," crossed out. "My touch is power." And I'm just gonna read you like this part because I can't see that part. Oh, put it out of the camera. I'm gonna read this part and this part, but I can't see that part, which is kind of sad because that's probably like the hook. But anyway, so it says, "I have a curse." I have a curse, crossed out. "I have a gift. I'm a monster," crossed out. "I'm more than human. My touch is lethal," as it says on the front cover. "My touch is power. I am their weapon," crossed out. "I will fight back." Boom, boom, boom. And then it goes on to say, "No one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the establishment has plans for her. Plans to use her as a weapon, but Juliet has plans of her own. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovering a strength to fight back for the very first time. And to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever." And now, like I said, I've lost the last line, so I'm not going to read it, but that still sounds pretty cool. It's a thin book. And yeah, like I said, I've just seen it on so many shelves, and it just looks awesome. And it's a trilogy, and I was tempted to just get that as well in the 3 for 2, but I just thought, no. Okay, so that's something I'm proud of. I failed at a lot because I got 4 books, and I said I wasn't going to get any, but I didn't get 6 books, which I was so close to do. So, Shatter Me. That also looks good, so that's on my TBR, along with the other 50-something books, and I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I'm going to get to it one day, and then I'm probably going to go out and buy the sequels before I even open it. Anyways, then the last book I got in this beautiful 3 for 2 special is called 1,000 Pieces of You. Now, this one I really liked because it actually reminds me a lot of my own book, At Water's Edge. Obviously, it's not, but elements. So I'm just going to read you 1,000 Pieces of You blurb, and then I'm going to say why it reminds me of my own book, and why it like piqued my interest, because I was like, ooh, kindred spirit in the thought dimension. Let's see. Anyways, so Margaret Kane grew up surrounded by cutting-edge scientific theories, thanks to her brilliant physicist parents. Yet nothing is more astounding than her mother's latest invention, a device called the Firebird that allows people to leap into alternate dimensions. When Margaret's father is murdered, all the evidence points to one person, Paul, her parents' enigmatic star student. Before the law can touch him, Paul slips into another dimension, having committed what seems like the perfect crime. So intriguing. But he didn't count on Marguerite. With the help of another physics student, Theo, Marguerite chases Paul through various dimensions. In each new world Marguerite leaps into, she meets another version of Paul that has her doubting his guilt and questioning her heart. Soon, she's swept into an epic love affair as dangerous as it is irresistible. So I just really liked that whole story idea. And then I was also intrigued by the fact that it's got other dimensions like my book, and I love other dimensions, and it's also got different versions of Paul. And in my world, in my book, in my world, there are different versions of us in this magical world called Coldivore. So I kind of liked how she's also got different versions of the same person in an alternate dimension, because I just love that theory, and that's why I wrote it in my own book. So I got this because it intrigued me, and I really, really, really like the cover. It just shows the transition of dimensions, modern world and mystical world, and just so yes, so I've got that to add to my TBR, and again, don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I got it, and I'm going to read it one day, and I'm going to love it, I'm sure, and I believe it's a series. I'm not sure, but I believe it's a series. I hope so, because I love series, and then I can go out and get the next one before reading it, just to have it looking all pretty in a drawer, or if I manage to clear some space on my bookshelf somehow. But yeah, so there you have it. Those are my recent buys, which I shouldn't have bought, and yeah, and if you've read any of them, tell me that it was a good thing that I bought them, and screw the fact that my TBR was ridiculously long. Okay? I hope you have a great day. Bye!